So, I said that I was going to bring you a review of Moby Dick by Herman Melville, and that is what I'm going to do. This edition I've got here is lovely. It's the vintage Red Spine Classics edition, and really pretty front cover. I'm out of breath. I just ran up the stairs. Sad, isn't it? Sad. Basically, it took me a few days to process my feelings about this book. It took me a blooming long time to read. It's not that thick, but it's over 600 pages and it's pretty weighty. I would say, in terms of actual story, there's only about 200 pages at best in here. It could be a hell of a lot shorter. I've still got mixed views about this one. I found it a real chore to read, and I'm sorry, but I did. I wanted to enjoy it, and I really was enjoying it, up to about 150 pages in, which is when they get on the whaling ship. For those of you who don't know, basically, I will give you a quick overview of what this is about. It follows a sailor called Ishmael and his friend Queequeg. I don't know if that's his actual name, but that's what I said in my head, Queequeg. And they get on a whaling ship with a sailor called Captain Ahab, who is out to seek revenge on a white whale called Moby Dick, who has eaten his leg and seems to be sort of torturing the sailors and sort of menacing the seas and causing all sorts of issues. We see throughout that they sort of stop off and speak to other ships who know about this Moby Dick, and everyone's sort of either hiding from him, running away from him, or trying to kill him. The reason I had mixed views about this was up until they get on the ship, it's fine. You know, you meet the characters. Ishmael's very much a part of the story. And I felt as soon as they get on the ship, Ishmael takes himself out of the story. It's a story looking in, very much. He's not part of it, almost. And that bothered me a lot. Also, I felt like all the characters were slightly underdeveloped for my liking. Like, Ahab is meant to be this huge, larger-than-life captain, and I just didn't get that feeling from him. And in terms of actual story, as I said, there's only about 200 pages, probably, maybe a bit more. I might be being a bit over-exaggerating there, but there was a lot of facts about whales. Now, it was interesting, don't get me wrong. I've read up about Herman Melville, and he was actually a whaler himself, so it was something he was very passionate about, and there is some interesting facts in here. It's very much more a information book about whales and how whales were viewed in those days, I think. Like, the facts aren't necessarily relevant for today, but it's how they viewed whales in those days, what they thought of whales in those days. And there is some really interesting stuff in there. I was going to say, if you're interested in whales, you would love this book. But actually, the deaths of whales, obviously they're a whaling ship, they kill quite a few whales while they're out for 3 years. So there's quite a few whales other than Moby Dick, as well as Moby Dick in this story. And the deaths of the whales are quite horrible, considering how we view whales now. They're very sort of peaceful and magnificent creatures. And in those days, they were thought of as monsters almost, and dangerous, and yeah, the killing wasn't the nicest, and I found it quite awkward to read, so I imagine someone who really likes whales would not enjoy those parts. But in terms of facts and things like that, they would enjoy this. It just wasn't my cup of tea, I'm afraid. There was some really, good pieces of writing in here. Some stuff that I've actually written down because I really liked. But I didn't love it. I found it really difficult to read. I didn't look forward to picking it up. It was kind of like, oh, I suppose I better read another few pages of that. And I hate feeling like that with a book. Like, I'm kind of rewarding myself now with a load of easy reads because this was such a chore for me. And I'm glad I've read it because it's been on my shelf for a long time. And yeah, I'm glad I got through it. I mean, I started it a few years ago, and it was, strangely enough, I got up to about 150 pages, and I knew I had, because I knew I'd got to the bit where we just met Captain Ahab. And up to that point when I was rereading it, I was thinking, this is really good, why did I stop reading it? As soon as I got to the point where we meet Captain Ahab, I was like, oh, I remember. It just gets really, really quite slow, and yeah, I mean, it says in the book itself, somewhere near the beginning, that there's not actually much plot to this story. It's just about a whaling ship and about whales. But, you know, it's a huge classic, and I can't judge it. But for me personally, it wasn't a great read, and it wasn't right, I think, for the time of life I'm at. Like, my reading's not great at the moment anyway, so I think this was a bit of a mistake. But, you know, I'd say give it a go. As I say, if you love whales or are really interested in whales more, not that you love them, because, as I say, the deaths are quite horrific, and I found them quite difficult to read about. But yeah, if you want to learn more about Wales, I'd give it a go. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Right, goodbye.